on this. It's got me super excited. It's not going to happen, so I don't know why we're wasting our time. I have got to talk about this. Rampage Jackson and Chael Sonnen.
Hey,
have you read the quotes? I don't know if you've read them. I'm going to read them to you. So
I sent you the text the other day. I said, let's do it.
Yeah.
Rampage and Chael.
No, I want to see it. I do. I really want to see it a lot. And I'm going to tell you why here in a second. Let me read you the quotes first. For those out there in cyberspace that haven't heard, Rampage Jackson and Chael Sonnen are kind of jawing. Rampage was getting interviewed by MMA Elite, I believe at the Expo, or no, it would have been after the Expo. But he's getting interviewed by MMA Elite, and this is what he told them. He sucks. I think Chael should keep his word and leave the UFC, because he said that's what he'd do if he lost, and he lost horribly. Bad. Chael sucks. And then this was Chael's response in true Chael fashion. He said to keep it professional, my answer would simply be Rampage has one fight left, and it's not against me. Now, had you asked me in the streets, in my kingdom, amongst my people, while I'm not wearing a suit and an earpiece, and if I have my sponsor's T-shirt on, my answer might have been different. I'd probably have said, hey, Rampage, why don't you stick to making box office disasters and driving the wrong way on the freeway while you're jacked up on Mountain Dew, because, Paige, you're not on my level. Now, in fairness to Chael, just to give the full quote, I think Chael actually said something there, too, about violating female MMA reporters, which was left out of this thing that I got off MMA. Those quotes were courtesy of MMA Junkie. But, yeah, I mean, they're not screwing around. They don't like each other. And Chael's talked about going to 205. And Rampage has one fight left. Now, here's my plea to the UFC. Now, I'm not going to get on my knees like a fighter and beg for a title shot, but if I would get on my knees, I would move this chair. I'll almost do what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to move this chair, and I'm going to get down on my knees, and I'm going to say to Dana White and Joe Silva, who probably don't listen to this podcast, but they should, please, if you guys do nothing else for me in the entire time that the UFC is in existence, I want to see Rampage Jackson and Chael Sonnen fight at 205 pounds, because as much of a UFC fan as I am, I couldn't care less about Glover Teixeira fighting anybody, much less Rampage Jackson. I would pay double the amount of a pay-per-view to watch the pre-fight press conferences with Rampage Jackson and Chael Sonnen. Never mind the fight. Never mind what I would pay for the fight. I would pay double to watch the press conferences. So, yeah. Okay, I mean, what are your thoughts on that fight, as if I even need to ask? But what, like, come on, right? I'm right. Am I not?
Oh, you were, yeah, you're so right. I mean, I would love just to have a media day with those two sitting right next to each other for about 3 hours. Like a movie. You could play it like a movie and sell tickets. I mean, that would be the best shit-talking press conference that you would ever see in your life.
And here's the problem. No one ever gets the drop on Rampage. Chael Sonnen would get the drop on Rampage with shit-talking. And why that matters is because in the few times I've ever seen someone get a little bit in Rampage's head, and that basically is Rashad Evans on The Ultimate Fighter, I mean, this dude's ripping doors off. I mean, Rampage Jackson, you forget, because he's kind of a fun guy, you know, and he's always joking around, that he's got an insane temper, and that's what makes him a great fighter. Like, he's a madman on some level. And Chael Sonnen would drive him bananas.
Oh,
bananas. He would be bringing up the most embarrassing things about him in press conference. I mean, this guy would be putting on a show. Like, Anderson Silva didn't even give him that much meat on the bone, and he still milked it for 4 years almost. Busting Anderson Silva's balls. Rampage Jackson, who motorboated an MMA reporter, Karen Bryant, and who humped a Japanese reporter, who dry humped a Japanese reporter. You're telling me that Chael Sonnen would not go crazy? I love Rampage. And Chael Sonnen would have a blast with Rampage Jackson in pre-fight. They have to do this fight. They have to. We need to start some sort of Twitter campaign or whatever it is. It has to happen.
Let's do it. I'm all on board for that.
Dude, it would be legendary. Anyway, okay, so let's